What is it?
So you've got the Galaxy Z Fold 3.
What?
That's got a cover screen, more durable folding glass, S Pen support. It's got an under display selfie camera. I made an entire separate hands-on video with this phone. It'll be the first link below that like button. Definitely
Why, I
check it
kind of
out.
want that
It's
actually.
really nice. But then also, there's this guy, the Z Flip 3. And while honestly this feels like a less surprising, pretty modest update comparably, of all the folding phones, this is actually the one that I feel like I'm most likely to start recommending to regular people. They've made a lot of good calls here. So the Z Flip and Z Flip 5G have been out for a little bit. What were people asking for from a new
look that bad
phone?
though.
So a better, bigger cover screen, a high refresh rate main screen, and lower the price a little bit. Okay, check, and kind of.
I feel like we're underestimating how lazy people are though. I feel like even the small 0.5-second motion of just opening the flip is kind of annoying, and I think that they'll discourage people from actually buying or using it.
Check. So let's just start with the price. The
We are
Flip 3
that
is
lazy.
gonna start
Don't get. Stop giving yourself so much credit as a human. Okay, you are that lazy. Yes, you are. I am that lazy. You are that lazy.
at $999, which is its lowest ever price. It's the lowest price of any of their folding phones. But the baseline version of it now has 128 gigs of storage, where the previous flips all had higher prices, but they all started at $256. So they've made a lower price. Regular flagship smartphones people are going to be considering buying. It just happens to be the one that's folding in half. So I'm happy to see this lower price, but the inside screen, the folding display, which is still the same size and aspect ratio, is also now
It's just too
120
small,
hertz,
though.
which is great. Everything is now benefiting from being super smooth, and you can always turn that down to 60 hertz if you want to. Literally feels
The phone
like the
itself
iPhone
is just
will be
too small.
the last flagship to
Too
go higher
slim.
refresh rate, but that's a conversation for another day. And all of this is wrapped in a design refresh that includes a larger and more functional cover display.
His
going
hands are
from
big?
that tiny 1.1-inch screen from before to a 1.9-inch cover screen. Now, it's not quite the huge 2.7-inch screen on the Razr, but this is a much bigger window and it makes a huge difference. So by default, it's still just going to be showing you the time, which is the same as before. Cool.
That's kinda cool.
Plus you get the battery and the date. But now swiping over to those different widgets and quick actions is way more functional and comfortable now. It's not that tiny postage stamp size screen. You've got music controls, alarms.
I would rather open the phone and just click a button and look and see all the things than just swipe like that. This is kind of annoying.
Timers, and they're now an actually usable size. And so this is the stuff you don't always want to have to open the phone.
Nobody
to
uses
get
shit
to.
intuitively.
But the most important thing is notifications. So if you swipe to the left of the time, you get all the notifications on your phone. And yes, you can read more than one, and you can actually swipe to dismiss individual notifications, and you can actually manage them properly from the outside.
Yeah, I don't know.
display.
What about the other
That
phone
is
though?
beautiful
I want to see the other one.
itself.
This
You
is
can
whatever.
Order them, calling you. All that good stuff is still here. Just
Aha! Here it
I'm
comes.
kind of liking this new dual tone design. Honestly, if you didn't have any logos on it, like if you just told a younger version of me that this was a folding Pixel,
Oh, his hands are just
I
big.
probably would have believed you. It kind of looks like
Different video?
the aesthetic from that Panda Pixel hinge. Same fingerprint reader on the power button. This is not, that could be the only
Where?
concern now that we just got high refresh rate. But just a little tighter and a little more well put together here. New Gorilla Glass Victus on the front. The whole phone is about 2 millimeters thinner, and it's slightly lighter than last year
I
as
like
well.
that. That's
And
kinda
the
cool.
hinge, the most important part, is even more tucked into the side of the phone. It doesn't stick out as much. So the whole phone, along with the weight of the hinge, has this feeling of being very firmly well put together, and it's this very satisfying feeling. It's so well
this
put
is pretty
together,
cool.
in fact, that it's actually, I was surprised to learn it has an IPX8 water resistance rating, which is pretty intense. That means it can survive water from all directions and can actually be immersed in water, which I already know means someone's going to do an underwater test with it, and I'll probably watch. But that's a pretty big step for a folding phone, isn't it? Now, importantly, that's IPX8, not IP68.
What?
So the X means it wasn't tested for like fine granular particles, solid particles, so it's not dust resistant.
I have the Fold 2. The aspect ratio is cringe on both screens.
And that actually makes a lot of sense. That's been the nemesis of these hinges. Just little tiny grains, little particles getting into the hinge and eventually ending up under the screen. But the fact that it's so...
Listen. Android is fucking garbage. Listen, let's be honest, okay, dude? The only selling point for your piece of shit Apple every year is the fucking camera that looks like a stovetop. And even then, they present cameras and technology for fucking lenses that Android has had for fucking years, if not decades, you dumb fuck. What are you on about?
Watertight, that they can actually certify it for water resistance, is pretty impressive to me. I'm pretty sure that's the first folding phone that we've seen, the first new folding screen type phone that's water resistant. Then another great touch is the cover screen that's on the outside, which is almost exactly the same size and resolution, is now 120 hertz also to match the inside screen.
That's
that
good.
I love. Last year on the Fold 2,
just wait till Apple comes out next year, or I mean, in 20 years. Today we discovered the new crystallized version of digital displays of 120 hertz, breaking cutting-edge new technology that nobody has ever seen before. Something users haven't had their hands on, and we're like, and
I never really got over the fact that the 60 hertz outside screen felt worse than the 120 hertz inside screen. It made me want to use it less. But now it just kind of feels like a really tall candy bar shaped normal phone with high refresh rate and everything. But let's talk about that big inside screen, shall we? Because this is where we have the most changes.
What about the games on it?
When watch that video.
I want to see him opens an app.
It's a little hazy in the viewfinder, but then you snap the picture and then you look at the picture fast enough, you can literally see that processing snap the contrast in, get rid of that haze. But it's still not that great of a picture. So it's interesting.
It's a selfie cam, it's whatever.
I mean, I'm excited to get my hands on this phone longer term for the full review, but also to see what
I see the best parts.
It would look really hazy in the viewfinder, and then once you snap the photo, it literally runs a defogging algorithm to sharpen up and clean up the picture. And I could actually see that same thing happening here when I feel you can open it up and point those cameras at yourself and use the viewfinder as a nice selfie shot. So this inside selfie.
Here's the reason why I don't mind those, is that it's the first one sort of through the door, right? I don't mind. These are like almost like prototypes, I feel like. And this happens a lot in tech, where somebody comes out with something cool and somebody does it better, and then better, and then better, and it's just really, really good, right? A little bit like with VR and shit like that, right? And it's like, this might suck, and the next one might suck. It might suck for 5 years, but overall, it presents something that maybe people want, but they don't know yet until it gets better.
Still see the camera sometimes, and it's not.
And you know for a fact that Apple didn't do none of this bullshit, and they come out at the very end when the product is already fully polished, and they copy the fuck out of it.
Perfect.
Classic Apple sucking balls, man.
Better technically than a hole punch. But my favorite inside screen improvement here is that the foldable glass protective film is 80% more durable against scratch resistance. Maybe it's just straight up just as good as
I
the
like that
Note
though. I think this is so cool. A big display
and
like
it's
that.
of course still an option.
I want to see games on it.
Which brings me to the only other option for this phone, which is a brand new, much bigger S Pen Pro.
Oh, no shots.
That has to be set to Z Fold mode, which is literally a physical switch on top of the pen that makes the tip retract more easily and with less pressure. But that's it. Now the S Pen Pro, it actually is pretty cool, and unlike the Fold edition, it is active, it's got a battery, it charges via USB Type-C, but it also has onboard memory.
I use my pen all the time.
Copy and paste stuff between different Samsung devices.
Guys, I use my pen all the time. I guess I have a Note, and I use it all the time.